Oh, hi there, yogis. Welcome to another episode of the Yoga Deconstructed with myself, Tali, from the Yoga Transformative. Today we're going to be talking about our wrists. And I know, this sounds really boring for some of us. The last thing we want to be doing is warm up and rehab and all this kind of thing when we just want to be moving and flowing. But trust me, this is important. So whether you're starting out in yoga and you're noticing that it feels quite intense to put weight into your wrists in down dog or plank, or whether you're more advanced yogi and you're starting to work on things like arm balances and handstands, we notice that, sometimes our wrists can really suffer, and that is generally when we're not looking after them as much as we could, whether that's in the poses themselves or whether that's our actually warming up before we go into some of these postures. So today, we're going to be moving through some of my favourite kind of movement practices to really start to strengthen, improve our mobility, and just get our wrists feeling really good. I actually do this sequence of movements every single day before I practice. And trust me, there was a lot of resistance there for a long time. But nonetheless, I get up, I make a cup of tea or a glass of water, and while I'm starting to, open my eyes and wake up a little bit, I will just wake up my wrists as I do this. So just going through this little sequence of movements, and by the time I'm through with these, not only am I a little bit more awake, but my wrists are too. And so I wanted to share these with you in the hope that this will help support your wrists no matter where you are on your yoga journey, and get you feeling like you can put weight into your hands without causing yourself any pain, discomfort or injury. You'll see that I've got 2 of these by my mat ready. I suggest that you grab something similar. These are actually the yoga tune-up balls, kind of myofascial release or therapy balls. But if you don't have any of these, 2 tennis balls, or even just rolling up like a t-shirt or 2, or a couple of small towels, just so you have something that you can kind of grip that has a little bit of give but still quite a lot of resistance. That will be really helpful for a couple of these exercises. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, however much space you have, it does not matter. You've got everything you need. If you've got a couple of t-shirts or tennis balls or similar, you've got a place where you can sit, and maybe preferably a place that you can kneel for the last one too. We'll get started with what I like to call SUPERNOVAS. And these are simply making a tight fist with both hands as much as you can, like really clenching in, and then starting to spread your fingers wide as much as you can. And we can do this passively or we can do this really actively, right? So really squeeze and make a fist like you're really mad, and spread your fingers as wide as you can. Really try wide fingers, really engaging, reaching out as much as you can. And then we'll speed this up just a few times. You can make fists, and then star out your hands, right? Supernova. We're trying to think about how wide can you bring your fingers away from each other. And even this, you may notice, actually gets tiring pretty quickly. You build up strength as you go. So just going to do this maybe 10 more times. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 2, and 1, and 0. All right, so moving on, we will now do figure eights. These are, I'm going to turn to the side maybe so you can see a little bit easier for this one. We're going to bring your palms to touch, and then wrap your fingers over your knuckles. So you're interlacing your fingers, trying to think in this one all about moving your wrists rather than your elbows. I'll just do some figure of eights. So just starting to roll your wrists in a figure of 8 or an infinity style position. You may notice you get some clicks and cracks between doing a ton of arm balances and inversions. So I'm doing this as a bit of a cool down for me today, and I can definitely hear some clicks going on. So again, you can speed this up, but try not to do this with your elbows. We want to make sure that we're moving really from our wrists. So again, just these figure of 8s. So really balancing things out in this way. We don't need to change the eyes because we're just doing the same thing. on each side as we do this. And maybe a couple more moments like this. And then we'll release. Next up, we need to keep our wrists locked. So I call these locked wrists, really imaginative. I'm going to bring your hands now to prayer. And I want you now to think about keeping your wrists, at least this part, the base of our palm, start of our wrist, kind of glued together the whole time. So we will move from the front to the back. I'll show you what I mean. So keeping your palms together, fingers tucked together for a moment, then start to point your pinky fingers out, coming on to bringing our thumbs together, and start to point your thumbs down. Now we're gluing together the backs of our wrists, fingers point down, and coming all the way up. And again, pinky fingers together, palms together, thumbs together. Start to point your thumbs down, rolling this out. And again, the key for this is keeping our wrists locked, whether that's the side of our wrist touching, the fronts of our wrist touching, or the backs of our wrist touching. And just really focusing on this kind of wrist lock concept. And just doing this a few times. And we'll add, if you have like any stiffness in one hand, often it's the hand that we write with. In a previous life, I actually worked in a lab for almost 10 years. So my left wrist was my pipetting hand, and oh my gosh, you can really see the difference in my left compared to my right. And this feels so good to my left wrist. Reverse directions. So this time, fingers point in, down and away. Still thinking, keeping your wrists glued together. And clicks and cracks are all good. Just make sure you're not getting any pain here. We don't want to experience pain. Alright. And then release. Shake it out again if you need. And turn back around for this next song because we're going to do some Mexican waves. So for this, interlace your fingers. Keep your forearm, or your elbows in line with your hands, so kind of forming one long line in this way. And then we're going to lift up your left elbow. Start to come into palm flexion on your left hand, and yeah, so you're going to see that one wrist is in palm flexion, one wrist is in dorsiflexion. So kind of the opposite. And then from here, you're going to reverse that, right elbow lifts. And then just like you would think of a wave, right? I'm going to think about letting this flow elbow to elbow, letting your wrist really come into both types of flexion through the hands. Okay, so yeah, thinking, I call this Mexican waves. Again, maybe not the most imaginative thing, but it works for me, helps me remember what it is. And just getting this idea of moving the wrists from flexion to extension on both sides. Alright, we're doing it from the other side. So I'm going to start on my right, you start on whatever side you didn't do first. So just feel it moving just like this. It's the wave. And if you've been, well, right now as I'm filming this, it's January 2021. So if you've been working from home, maybe you found yourself sitting at a desk more than usual, or maybe sitting on the sofa, tut tut. But you may notice that you're spending more hours on your computer or your phone than you used to. So this is just really good in itself to have some release to the wrists. Whether you do yoga or not, this is going to really benefit you. Alright, let's release from this. Next up, tiger claw. I think this is from Kung Fu, so I can't take credit for the name. But essentially, bring your palms, they face forwards. Try and keep the front of your forearms forwards, elbows bent, fingertips facing towards the ceiling, and then we're going to slowly and as controlled and as intensely as you can, we're going to bend your fingers. Try to bring your fingertips in towards the tops of your palms, and then continue until you really make this kind of fist with your knuckles pointing forwards. And again, just as slowly and just intensely, start to reverse that. Straighten your fingers all the way back up. And again, you can do this really passively and sloppily, or you can do this really, really controlled. I can promise you, as with anything, the more control and intention you bring, the better it's going to be for you. So we're just going to keep doing this. And starting to bend your fingers, fingertips in towards your palms. And then starting to straighten your fingers. Tiger claw. Let's do this 5 more times, okay? Again, if this is hard work for you, good. That means that you're applying effort. And that is exactly what we want to be doing here. Alright, 3 more. Last one, let's go. That's your best tiger claw yet. Start to straighten your fingers up, don't miss the last bit. And again, shake it out. This definitely is a fiery one. Next up, this is my personal nemesis, so I pull the lower side up left hand, but again, it's a journey. It's not about the destination, and the more we practice this, the better it gets. Telling myself this as well as you. So again, we're going to bring your hands like this, palms facing forwards, elbows bent, and this time we're going to bring your thumb in towards your palm, and then straighten your thumb, bring your left, bend your left, not your left, your index fingers. We're going to bend your index fingers and try and bring them in towards your base knuckle, and then middle finger, a ring finger, pinky finger. And starting again, thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger. And if your pinky finger does not move as much as the others, that's normal. Let's keep going. Index, middle, let me start with thumb, ring finger, pinky finger, thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger. Let's do that one more time, maybe 2. Thumb, index, middle, ring, little, thumb, fast, middle, ring, pinky. Oh, good. Shake it out. And then now, I'm going to change position because my feet are falling asleep. You make sure you're comfortable wherever you are. And then grab your therapy balls, your tennis balls, your rolled up t-shirts, whatever you got. And from here, I'm going to turn again to the side. You stay where you are. And get out of all this gorgeous sunshine. So what we're going to do is grip the balls so that in your palms, curl your fingers around so you really try and squeeze the balls as much as you can. Elbows in line with your shoulders and wrists in line with your elbows. Palms face down to begin with. I'm going to try and tilt your palms down and then up. You're really trying to come into palm flexion, so starting to bring your palms towards the front of your forearms, the insides of your forearms, right? So again, the more you squeeze the balls, your t-shirts, whatever you've got, the more you're going to get out of this. This can be quite nice as a stretch for the top of your forearm as well, right? Let's keep going. 1, 2, 5, 3 more. So that's 3, last 2, and last 1. And we'll flip your palms, still holding the balls, whatever you've got. Palms face up now. And we're going to come and trying to bring your palms towards the insides of your forearms again. So again, and start to roll your knuckles up. Try to bring the ball towards the inside of your forearms. Try to keep the alignment so you're not starting to lift. It's like a bicep curl style thing. We want to keep our wrists in line with our elbows as best as we can. And yeah, just notice myself doing this rather than coming back into dorsiflexion. Let's try and keep our palms, or our wrists I should say, neutral. So we roll in and we come into a straight line. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, keep squeezing, 1. Alright, please, your bowls, your t-shirts, whatever you've got. And now we're going to make our way to tabletop for the last bit, and we're just going to do some leans. So if you're new to yoga, if you don't do yoga, tabletop is essentially coming to hands and knees. So we want our knees to be about underneath our hips, wrists about underneath your shoulders, right? And spread your fingers wide. So this is a great moment here just to check in with our yoga alignment. So anytime you bear weight into our hands, I want you to think, spread your fingers wide, allow your wrist creases to face forwards towards the top of your mat. And then try and press down your base knuckles. These are the knuckles that are closest to your palms, right? I want you to think your first finger, your index finger knuckle, and the base of your thumb especially. So this inside L of your hands is going to be taking more of the weight than say your pinky finger base knuckle. So press down into your palms, press down into your base knuckles, fingers spread wide, and try and grip the mat with your finger pads. Think like tiger claw, right? So we're trying to claw the mat. So moving into our leans from here, keep the same alignment with your arms. How does it feel to lean your shoulders further forwards than your wrists? Keep your core active, so don't think about slumping down your lower back. Keep gripping the mat with your finger pads, pressing down your L shape of your hand, inner L, index finger, knuckle, base of your thumb. Press down. Take 2 more breaths here. You may not be able to get too far forwards to begin with, but over time you start to get more of a lean. This is great when we start to press up to handstands, right? Come out, and we're going to come straight to the other side, or rather, flipping our palms the other way. So this time, I'm going to turn your fingers, palms will stay facing down. We're going to keep turning your fingers so they point in towards your knees. Alright, so fingers pointing back. Just going to add right here, if you've got really tight wrists and that feels hella intense and just really horrible, then just turn your fingers a little bit out to either side. So your hands are kind of angled a little bit left and right. That's going to be a lot better for your wrists to begin with. And then yeah, over time, you start to point your fingers back more and more. So, fingers spread wide. Fingers pointing back or slightly out. And this time you're going to lean back, as though you're trying to bring your butt towards your heels, right? Hips towards heels. Shoulders behind your wrists. And again, this can probably maybe be less of a movement, less movement than the leaning forwards with our fingers facing forwards, but this is just a really great way to come into dorsiflexion, stretching out the fronts of your forearms. Maybe this is not something we often do, right? A couple more breaths, shoulders back, keep your wrists glued down, palms glued down. And then release. One at a time. I love after that, because that can be quite intense. Bringing the backs of the hands down, fingertips point out to the left and the right. And just lean a little bit side to side. It's quite nice to release from that, right? And lastly, this is not essential. I just love to have a little bit of release of forearms. If this feels weird or too much right now, don't feel like you have to do it, but I'm going to include this anyway, just in case this feels really good and something you want to practice as part of your wrist mobilizations. And it's just a forearm release because, yeah, our forearms can get really tight, and when we get really strong through our forearms, again, plank, down dog, arm balances, handstands, all this stuff, chaturangas, are going to be really strengthening our forearms too. Well, it's going to be really nice to give them a bit of release. So coming back to tabletop for a moment, you're going to drop your right forearm down, so your palm will face up, and I want your elbow to be about underneath your right shoulder, and adjust that if you need. And what we're going to do, it's a bit crazy, but there we're going to come forwards, you stay where you are, you're going to bring your left knee on top of your right forearm, left hand can come forwards if you need, feel a bit more support, and then just massage out your forearm with your knee. I know, right? The funny thing is, we'll start to apply, as we release, using our knee, we'll start to apply maybe a little bit of compression to some of the nerves. So if you notice your fingers start to curl up completely involuntarily, and that's why it's nothing to worry about. It's just a bit weird. Oh, the human body, right? So yeah, just use your left knee to massage out your right forearm. No obligation to do this if this is just a bit too weird for you right now. But it can be really nice just to release any tension, any tightness, any stuck parts of our forearms. Release your left knee, come back to your right palm, and do exactly the same thing on the other side. This time the left forearm down, back of hand down so palm faces up. Right hand can come forwards if you want to have a bit more balance. Lift your right knee, and this time start to massage out your left forearm with your right knee. It's such a weird, trippy thing to do. Just seeing your fingers just or your hands forming fists completely involuntarily. And it's just really nice to get our forearms some TLC because, hey, I don't often do that. Alright, you can release. And then is your wrist mobilizations with a little sneaky forearm release and thrown in there as well. And that's that all complete. As I said, I try and do these every single day before I get on my mat. When you get into the process of it, it takes literally like 5 minutes tops, and trust me, your hands, your wrists, your forearms, they're going to be thanking you for it. Don't feel like you have to do the forearm knee release every single time. That can maybe be a special occasion thing, maybe once a week. But in terms of your wrists, then yeah, try and do that every day. They're really going to thank you, whether that's because you're a keyboard warrior or a hardcore yogi or a beginner yogi. They're going to be really grateful that you spent some time getting them strong, getting them mobile. And as always, if you liked what you saw, if you'd like to see more videos by me, don't forget to hit subscribe or give this video a thumbs up if you really dig it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you next time.